Well, from water now to coffee. Starbucks and its newly appointed boss, Brian Niccol, have come under fire for plans to allow him to commute almost 1,000 miles from his family home in California to the firm's headquarters in Seattle on a private jet. Well, the swift removal of Niccol's predecessor and the $100 million deal to poach him from another company has been big news in corporate America, but environmentalists have been enraged that Niccol is being facilitated to stay living in Newport Beach and to jet in for the 3 days a week when he's expected to be in the main office. Well, joining me now to discuss this, Chris Roebuck, a global leadership expert who's also on the advisory board of UCL School of Management. Thanks for joining us, Chris. We know all this because Starbucks had to make his job offer letter public in regulatory filings. Yep. Does it do damage, do you think, to Starbucks' environmental reputation?
Well, Ty, given they knew they were going to have to publish this, did they not actually expect that someone might start asking questions and they might actually have to have a good, sensible answer? And yes, it does. It does damage their reputation because they profess to be environmentally friendly. I think what really sort of pushes the button a little bit more is the fact that it's going to be an executive jet. The fact that he's not actually just going to get on a scheduled flight, albeit in first class, and fly for 2.5 hours. I think that just makes it worse, and it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, and one of the things we don't know is whether it's a 1 day a week thing or an every day a week thing or one trip a week, and whether he'll spend the nights in Seattle. I mean, Starbucks has a policy. This is in line with their policy of working 3 days a week in the office rather than at home, and they're applying this policy to him. I mean, could a CEO get away with not following the same rules as ordinary employees?
Well, you and I both know there are many examples out there currently and previously of chief executives trying not to stick to the same rules. The classic do as I say, not do as I do that we see repeatedly. But we know that the impact of that is that employees see it as hypocritical, and it has a very, very bad impact on organizational trust because it's just a bad leadership example.
I mean, do you get the sense, though, that this kind of behavior is probably fairly common among CEOs? I mean, could Starbucks just be unlucky that it's been publicized in this way?
I think the higher your profile as an organization, the more people are looking at what your senior executives are doing. And yes, they probably have got caught out. But as I said before, I'm sure even now, if they got their act together, they could mitigate it by saying, well, actually, it's only going to be once a week and he's actually going to use scheduled flights. Because I think they've just got themselves into a position that they didn't need to be in. I mean, and then one could almost say, well, fine, this is what we're going to do about it and to mitigate the damage we've already caused ourselves.
Chris Roebuck, there we'll have to leave it, but thank you for sharing those thoughts with us today.